But it has, look at a guy like Mbokazi. This guy has to go to Europe. He's 19 years old. You see the way he's playing is like he has already 10 years experience on this level. It's his third game with the national team. Third game, you see how he playing. So again, let's hope that some players can do the step next year. It will be good for South African football, believe me. And I can assure you, he's a black guy, but he will get out of my room as a white guy. Because that I can't.
While I think some of Hugo Bro's comments can genuinely be attributed to a language limitation. Not everything can be excused under the umbrella. That's a clear distinction between linguistic clumsiness and a remark that cross into the respect, and Hugo Bros toes that line far too often. And a good example is what he said about message of Orlando Pirates agent, big nonsense. That wasn't language issue, that was simply uncalled. Coaches of national team level have to operate with a degree of diplomacy, especially when dealing with the clubs whose cooperation is crucial for a player release, fitness, communication, and overall ecosystem. Harmony calling a club communication nonsense is unnecessary, combative, and dismissive. This is where Hugo Bro's blunt personnel becomes a double-edged sword. His honesty is refreshing when assessing performance or speaking on footballers' standards, but it turns abrasive when directed at institutions or individuals in a way that feels personal, and once it comes from the national team coach, it carries a weight, it shapes narratives and strains friendship and friendship. So while I don't believe his comment about Mbokazi carry racism undertones, I do believe he deserves to be called up for a manner and the tone and the manner of his utterances. There's a point where directness becomes disrespectful on issues like the Pirates message. He crossed it. What I also take issue with was the slight jab he took at Mbokazi agent Marcia Maker's TLB agent, suggesting that if she was a little bit clever, she would have awaited for AFCON and the World Cup to showcase Mbokazi leverage. Those staged for a better move. The strategic logic behind it, that point is understandable, and I said the same major thing, but somehow I don't think there were any racism undertones in Hugo Bro's comment. Hugo Bros has always been a straight shooter, self-touted, gradually candid and unfiltered, but he also not a national English speaker, and his vocabulary isn't particularly expensive because of that. Some of his phrases can land apparently or carry united innuendo even when intention behind it isn't malicious. In this case, I think Hugo Bros was simply trying to say that a fully or reprimand Mbokazi would have received from him would be so sharp, so several that it would show on his face reaction that no spirit of what he was getting at. His language challenge show up in the same press conference. Look at how he spoke about Lodge recently, repeatedly using the word finish when describing his spell at Orlando Pirates. In other words, people will see it in under Sundowns and Pirates. On the surface, it reads as if he's saying Lodge is done, washed up, or past its peak, but that interpretation collapses the moment you consider the constant. Lodge is in an excellent form, something Hugo Bros himself openly praised. So clearly finished wasn't used in the English sense of a career over, but rather in Hugo Bros' own direct foreign language inflected phrasing to mean that chapter is closed. This is the Hugo Bros pattern: sharp edges, rough vocabulary, and comment that can scan harsher than intended. Not racism, just a coach who speaks plainly in a language that isn't fully his own. But was it necessary for him to go to the media, rode over the boy arrive late? Not even a boycott could have dealt with this without bringing too much attention on the boy, and for him to suggest boy that he's a star Yes, he's not just a star. He's on his way becoming a superstar. If he isn't one already, Hugo Bros need to be called in order. He's not a fake blood warrior. We haven't forgotten about his brutal comments when justifying his omission of Kaizer Chiefs player from the squad. That's a very media game he's so crazy about will come out at him just in the near future when things do not go his way. Performing to results media holds you and crushes you late. He must remember that. This is the attitude of a star. Hugo Bros glanced Mbokazi after arrived late. Bafana Bafana has pushed Hugo Bros has publicly rebuked 20 years old defender Mbokazi for what he described as a star attitude after the player missed his flight and arrived late to the national team final preparation ahead of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. Mbokazi pressed off captaining his club Paris to the curling knockout was graded a short break, but when he failed to catch a scheduled flight from the Durban to Gauteng, he only arrived at the camp on Tuesday, a day later than expected. Hugo Bros didn't miss Wednesday press conference at the Orlando Pirates at the High Performance Center in Pretoria. Suddenly, he is a star. He thinks he's a star. He thinks he has arrived. The Belgian coach fumed, very angry with his attitude. The coach went further, calling a missed flight very unprofessionally and criticized both Mbokazi and the player club for what he saw as an unacceptable lack of discipline. The club protected the player for his unprofessionalism attitude. Hugo Bros complained. Beyond that, just punctually, Hugo Bros also questioned Mbokazi's recent decision to move to MCL League side of Chicago, for suggesting the timing of such a career step may be distract him from national team focus. And ahead of AFCON next year World Cup, the outburst signals that in Hugo Bros' view, for a pure professionalism, especially as South Africa prepare for one of the continental football biggest stage. The breaking news: UTM was officially stepped up and things just go serious. The letter being sent to the South African Human Rights Commission calling for any answered investigation into shocking claims that about Bafana Bafana coach Hugo Bros. According to the UTM, Hugo Bros allegedly made a racism change and sexist remarks about Mbokazi and his agent.
I will tell you what I think. No. No. What is he going to do in Chicago? Yeah. He's not even a top team in America. And if my info is right, I don't know. Don't quote me, but because they told me that they will play in MLS 2. That's the second team of Chicago. I don't know if it's the truth, I don't know. They told me. So I will ask him when I see him. And that is even worse. But I know what happened. A nice little woman who is his agent and thinks she knows football is doing what many agents are doing. How much can I get? If she is a little bit clever, she knows that there is AFCON, and she knows that next year there is World Cup, that there will be other teams better for his career to go to, and not to Chicago. What is he going to do alone there in the big city like that? So no, I don't think it's a good choice.
Michaels, this letter say Hugo Bros joke about Mbokazi is a black man who will come out white after missing a flight. He also claims he referred to Michaels as a little woman who thinks he knows football. The UTM says if these remarks are true, they break constitution and the Equality Act. Also warned the comment like this don't just offend, they damage the dignity of players and tear down the values of non-racism and narcissism. That sport leadership supposed to defend racism and white supremacism attitude has no place in our society, and we will not tolerate them from anyone, including the Bafana Bafana coach. We have also returned to Safa to express our deep concern about discussing at his comment of Hugo Bros must be held to excellent for his utterances. Please comment down in the comment and tell me how do you see about this Hugo Bros comment about Mbokazi late arrival and his decision on moving to the America MCL League. And please subscribe and like and comment. Peace out.
But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
F was eat, just step on niggas. Right now, F was eat, just step on niggas.